Happy Canada Day, everyone. To all of my Canadian friends out there, yeah, I just wanted to say Happy Canada Day all the way from California. It doesn't mean that I'm not participating in the festivities in my heart today alongside you guys. I'm sure you guys are all out having a great time celebrating with tattoos and colors and different colors of shirts on and all that kind of jazz. But this week's video, for our normal Sunday video, I wanted to talk about the 5 things I love about being Canadian. And although I've made a move to the States, it doesn't mean that in my heart center this isn't still true and valid for me and for where I am in life. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that forth today. So the first one is freedom. So there was never a time in my life where I ever questioned being able to do something. And what I mean by that is like starting up a business or pursuing a career option or even going out in the community and doing something to make a difference. Like there was never a question of whether I could or couldn't do that. And I loved that freedom when I was a Canadian of being able to do that without having to really think about it. There's other countries in the world that you don't have that type of flexibility or freedom inside of your space to be able to do that. So that's the first thing I love about Canada. The second thing I loved about Canada was, you know, you didn't really know that you lived in a really cool place. Like I grew up in Winnipeg and you didn't really know it was freezing there all the time when you were there because you just adjusted to the temperature. That's just what life was about. But one of the things that I really love about Canada is that you could literally walk down the street and there could be like a pond that was frozen over in the winter. You can throw on some skates and start to skate in the middle of a field. I remember as a kid, we used to go to this like open field that we had kind of right by our house and throw on a pair of skates, and I learned how to skate on this little tiny pond that froze over in the winter. So like something like that for me was super cool, which brings also into number 3 is the diversity of temperatures that we had in Canada. You know, like I love a wood burning fireplace. It is like one of the things that like lights my soul on fire. And I still look forward to be able to vacation in areas that have winter, and to be able to go back to my parents' place, to be able to, you know, be there too in the winter time and to honor that diversity. But in the winter, we used to have, you know, that availability. We could do winter sports consistently all the time. And then in the summer, switch off our gear and put on summer sports, you know. I used to play ball. I used to curl, which is kind of, if you don't know what curling is, very, very Canadian, especially in Winnipeg. I used to play volleyball, and I love playing beach volleyball at the same time, and badminton, but we had that diversity of the winter to be able to do things. The 4th thing I love about Canada is we have great beer. And not to say that I don't love beer from other countries, because if you know me well enough, you'll know that I'm a Guinness fan. But we definitely have great beer. We have diversity of beer. Pretty much like all over the place in Ontario, you can go into small towns and there's some kind of local brewery there, and you can try out different eclectic beers that are made in Canada, in Ontario especially too. So that is number 4 thing I love about Canada. And 5 is that we just have such free spirits. And not to say that other places don't, and that other people are not in the same type of mentality, but you can walk into like Ontario or in Toronto and there's so much diversity, so much available for us as people to be able to learn from, grow from, achieve. Like you just had to drive somewhere to be able to hone in on a skill set that you have that type of diversity inside of a space of where I used to live and where things were. So I love being Canadian. I will always be Canadian, and it's at the heart of who I am. And no matter where I am in the world, where I'm living, where I'm traveling, who I'm married to, or anything, it will always be something I go back to and look upon as a really amazing time in my life to be able to grow up in a place like Canada. So again, happy Canada Day to all of my Canadian friends, family, and everybody out there in Canada. And I hope you guys are having an amazing time celebrating 151 years of being available in freedom, and to do those things that we want to do. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a great one.